Hey everyone, I'm Sanjay Kidambi. I'm a product marketer with Microsoft 365 Compliance. And I'm joined today by my teammates, Eric and Tina. And together in this session, we're going to sort of walk you through the challenges that we see organizations face with information protection and governance, and share with you how we believe our solution uniquely solves for those challenges. It won't be a surprise to you to know that most of the organizations are really struggling with the rapid growth of sensitive data. It's a number one concern and a number one goal for organizations to be able to adequately protect and govern their sensitive data. But that's easier said than done. It's really hard to know what sensitive data you have in your organization, where it resides, and what are the activities around it. No wonder that over 80% of the corporate data is dark. And most of the organizations don't have confidence that their current strategy and their current set of solutions adequately meet those challenges. While the challenges might be daunting, we're also here to tell you that at Microsoft, we offer you a solution that's unique in the marketplace and that can adequately meet your information protection and governance challenges. Let me walk you through a few key aspects of our solution. For one, it's integrated into those very apps and services that your users use. There's no need for you to deploy a plugin and maintain that plugin. Second, it's a unified solution. You have sensitive data that's sort of sitting across cloud services like Teams or on-premises. But you have to go to one place, one console, that's Microsoft 365 Compliance Center, and create and deploy policy that's consistent across these locations. Third, the bedrock of our solution is a comprehensive set of intelligent classification capabilities, all the way from sensitive information types that are mapped to various industry regulations worldwide, all the way to advanced technology, like those that leverage machine learning to build trainable classifiers to be able to find and classify content that's unique to your organization, like customer records at scale. Our solution is also designed to be user-centered. It balances the security needs that the organization has with the productivity needs that your end users have. And we also realize that you need a comprehensive solution, and for that it's important. And we've made our solution to be extensible, to work well with existing vendor solutions you have, and work well not just with Microsoft apps and services, but also third-party apps and services that your users use. And now let's take a closer look. There are four solutions to our information protection and governance pillar. The first is to know your data. And that's really about addressing that dark data problem that I was talking to you about earlier. Please note, even without your administrator having to configure a single policy, we'll be able to surface to you, after crawling your digital estate, insights and analytics into the kind of sensitive information you have. Now that you know your data, the second pillar is to protect your data. And that involves first, enabling you to appropriately classify your data, label it, and then to apply the protection actions that you think is adequate. And it could differ based on circumstances. In some case, you may just want to watermark the content so that the user is aware and mindful that they're working with content that's sensitive to your organization. Or you could encrypt it to protect the data from unauthorized user access. The third pillar is to prevent data loss. And that is to ensure that you're not losing data externally into your organization because of user activities, whether it's inadvertent or malicious. And the fourth pillar is to govern your data. And that's to be able to create retention and deletion policies, manage customer records, and to be able to trigger disposition reviews. Please note that all of these policies are applied to your content in place where your users collaborate. Now for the rest of this session, my teammates and I will show you how these pillars come together. Let's begin our walkthrough with Know Your Data, where we're addressing the dark data problem. We give you two sets of capabilities here. The first set of capabilities is for you to be able to really know and classify your data. And we do that with the use of out-of-the-box sensitive information types that are mapped to different industry regulations. But since every organization on the planet has data that's unique to them, whether these are contracts or customer records, we give you trainable classifiers that leverage machine learning to intelligently classify data that's unique to your organization. Our second set of capabilities are those that give you holistic understanding of your sensitive data in your digital estate. We have the Overview tab where you can see at a glance the most common sensitive information types and labels in your organization and how they're being used. The Content Explorer provides you a richer understanding of that data that's at risk by displaying the amount and types of sensitive data in a document. There's an integrated document viewer that displays the full content for those with appropriate permissions. Now, the Explorer, that provides you a better understanding of the activities that are related to your sensitive data. It helps you investigate events that could be leading to data loss scenarios. Now, once you really know your data, you want to be able to apply appropriate protection based on sensitivity. As mentioned before, we provide built-in labeling and protection services in M365 apps and services. That's not all. We also enable you to label and protect in a consistent way the sensitive data that resides in your on-premises file shares and in your third-party apps and services. You get the ability to be able to recommend or auto-apply classification and labeling when your users are entering sensitive information in an Office file. And you get the ability to auto-label sensitive documents stored in SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams at scale. All this with the confidence that you can first simulate this auto policy to test the impact before you roll them out at scale. And of course, we also provide your end users the ability to manually apply labels to classify and protect a team or a site, in addition to be able to manually labeling Office files and emails. Now with that, I want to hand you off to my teammate, Eric, who will walk you through the third pillar of prevent data loss.
Thank you, Sanjay. As Sanjay mentioned, DLP is about protecting sensitive data from risky or inappropriate sharing, transfer, or use. In the new reality of significant numbers of employees working from home or other remote locations indefinitely, it has created a renewed emphasis on providing strong and coordinated protections across all user touchpoints with sensitive data, be they in the cloud, with native or third-party apps, on-premise, and also on endpoints. Microsoft Information Protection is the fundamental launching point to protecting your sensitive data. And DLP takes the goodness provided by MIP policies and extends it with policy enforcement for your entire organization. To help customers accelerate their deployment of a comprehensive information protection and data loss prevention strategy across all their environments and to ensure immediate value, Microsoft provides a one-stop approach to data loss prevention and policy deployment within Microsoft 365 compliance centers. For those of you who are already familiar with Microsoft's DLP solutions, you will notice a few new additions to the deployment scenarios that are available to you. With the recent public preview of Endpoint DLP, Microsoft added native, fully built-in DLP capabilities right into Windows, Office apps like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Microsoft Edge to provide risky or inappropriate sharing, transfer, or use of sensitive data across applications or services. We have heard loud and clear that organizations' biggest struggles in deploying DLP to endpoints has been the distribution and management of the DLP agent itself. With Microsoft's Endpoint DLP solution, this is no longer required, since the Endpoint DLP software is built right into the Windows 10 endpoint, ensuring a fully native integration and familiar experience for all the users. At Ignite, Microsoft also announced a public preview of Microsoft Cloud App Security, MCAS DLP. This new capability adds support for DLP policies based on content inspection across all connected applications, such as Dropbox, Box, Google Drive, WebEx, OneDrive, SharePoint, and others. MCAS DLP extends Microsoft's DLP enforcement framework to native and third-party cloud apps for consistent and seamless compliance experiences. So now let's take a look at the biggest factor impacting productivity, which is user experience. And for that, we will take a look at Teams, Endpoint, and Edge. Starting with Teams, here we have Amelia, one of our users, and she is being asked to provide information with regards to a sensitive project, Project Obsidian. And Project Obsidian contains sensitive information. It contains intellectual property. So as Amelia attempts to copy this file, she is provided with a pop-up that lets her know that her message was flagged because it contained sensitive information. And there's clear, direct information with regards to what information actually caused this issue. So you see that it involves Project Obsidian. And then there's a policy tip that's provided to her. It gives her guidance on what she could be doing. Now, with DLP, we have a lot of flexibility with regards to the activities or the actions that can occur when an event is triggered. You can test a policy and have it run in the background in monitor mode. You can have a policy deployed as active, which means that we will monitor, but also will activate a prevention mechanism. But we do have the ability to override in that mode. And then lastly, we have enforce without override, which means that in a situation where we categorically do not want a user to actually share information, we can actually provide the pop-up and let them know the file cannot be sent. With the override option, we do have the ability for the user to provide a business justification as to why they feel they need to share this data for a very particular business reason. In our next example, we're also working with Project Obsidian. In this case, we're attempting to copy content from a Project Obsidian file. Here we have the content being copied and attempted to put into another application. And here again, we have a familiar toast, a pop-up that informs the user of the action being blocked. So it says this action being blocked. You should not copy data while Project Obsidian document is open. In this case, we do have the ability to override. So then you can allow, but then you would be providing a business justification. Again, what's important to note is these pop-ups, these policy tips are familiar. We're not using a different interface than what the users are currently used to seeing from Windows and the various applications that they use on a day-to-day basis. And then lastly, we have an example with Edge, where we are seeing the user attempting to copy a file to Dropbox, just a common file share service. And in this case, we've also identified that there's sensitive data. In this example, it is Project Obsidian. So now we are providing the pop-up and we're allowing or notifying the user that they are not allowed to share this content. And now I will pass it over for the last part to Tina, who will discuss how to govern your data. Tina?
Thank you, Eric. Hi, everyone. My name is Tina Ying. So I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager focused on the govern your data part. A lot of our customers reach out to us asking questions like, how can I classify my data? What kind of data should I keep? What kind of data should I delete? So Microsoft Information Governance can help. The solution can help you to manage information lifecycle and records intelligently with the 4 key capabilities here. First, you can manage your data in place. You can manage and create a retention and deletion policy within Microsoft 365, where your user collaborate. That provides the best user experience. And also in that way, you don't need to copy your data to other archiving solution or records management system that can help you to reduce risk and liability of managing those information. Second, we provide multiple ways to help you to auto-classify data and govern that at scale. And third, when it comes to information governance, there are multiple regulations you need to adhere to. And Microsoft Information Governance also provides capabilities like proof of disposal, rich audit trail, and the classification insights that you can demonstrate to your regulators and auditor that you meet those record-keeping requirements. It's not just for Microsoft 365 data. you will be able to leverage the Preview Data Connector to bring in some third-party data, like your social media content, your chat message on other tools, or collaboration data on Zoom and Slack. You'll be able to bring them into Microsoft 365, leverage one integrated and intelligent platform to govern your information landscape. It will help you to govern the information and then only keep what you need and delete what you don't, to reduce the liability and risk of managing your information landscape. For your high-value information, like the crown jewel of your corporate information, we provide specialized records management solution to help you to meet the record-keeping requirement. And today, I'm going to highlight some of the experience here in the following screenshots. First one, you can see that within the Compliance Center, you'll be able to follow the wizard and configure your retention and records policy easily. We provide multiple granular options here. You can select when to start the retention period. You can select different level of immutability. So if something is a record, like a legal contract, you can mark it as a record, so it's immutable, that no one will be able to add it or delete it. You can also trigger disposition review after you reach the retention period. The next slide shows you the end user experience. So once you configure the policy, your end user will be able to manually apply it, or you can also use auto classification to apply the label. Once you apply the records label, then it won't be able to be edited or deleted by the end user. But for some of the documents, like your SOP, you might need to update it annually. Then your end user will be able to use this advanced record versioning capability within SharePoint. They can unlock a record, and the previous version will be saved as a record immutably in a hidden library that is accessible by your records manager. Once something is marked as a record, you can see immediately the end user won't be able to edit it or delete it. So the editing button here is grayed out. This is the records policy that is building into your collaboration environment that can help you to enforce a policy immediately where users collaborate. And to close out the session, I want to share with you a customer case study. So CenturyLink is one of our big customers who use the capability we just mentioned in this session to classify the data, use machine learning to enforce policy, to protect and govern those data. And so they will be able to move from a reactive stance to a proactive stance when it comes to protecting and governing information. You can learn more about the CenturyLink story in the case study link here. And lastly, I want to share with you some very, very helpful resources here to help you to learn more about information protection and governance. And the one that I want to highlight especially is the IPG blog. If you want to learn any news about information protection and governance, you can see the most updated announcement in this blog link. If you don't have E5 license yet, you can try out E5 compliance in the link here to test out the capability that we share with you today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching this session.